Live from iRacing's virtual Canadian Tire Motorsports Park in Bowmanville, Ontario, we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to round 6 of the 2024 BiS Formula 1600 Championship Series. And it is championship night nonetheless, the final points week of this F1600 season. And as always, we're happy that you're spending your Wednesday evening with us live on Podium. Our producer downstairs is Christian Hill, and alongside Daniel Zippy Salmon, my name is Evan Pasoko. And Zippy, we are through 5 points rounds. That equates to 15 different checkered flags that have been thrown so far. But tonight, we will crown this series champion.
Oh, it's going to be an absolute belter to finish it off. So many people in contention of winning the series right now. There's like any of 5 drivers right now could take the series win. You got Michael Broomhead, he's out in front. Stuart Ross, who doesn't look like he's going to make it tonight, he's in second. Zach Buchanan, who's not only had success here in the F1600s, but in the Radicals as well. He's here tonight. John Benvalid, Assad Nakadambev. Any of these guys could take that crown tonight.
And we'll talk more about those points and follow them all night long in just a little bit. First, want to thank our presenting sponsors for making tonight's coverage possible. And it all starts at the top, but with the Motor Racing Checklist 2.0, the best sim racing online course on the planet, but made even better, as well as our friends at Turn 1 Sim Racing for making this broadcast possible. Whether you're seeking an adrenaline rush, celebrating a special occasion, or simply looking to have a fantastic time with friends and family, Turn 1 Sim Racing is your ultimate destination. Step into the virtual world where every lap counts and every moment is filled with excitement. At Turn 1 Sim Racing, we are more than just a sim racing lounge. We're a passionate community of racing enthusiasts dedicated to providing you an unparalleled racing experience. We talk about the schedule and how this is the final points race of the year. The good news is, if you've had so much fun with us on these F1600 races this year, there is still more to come. That rescheduled King of the Mountain date at Bathurst in 2 weeks' time for March 27th. So this is not us saying goodbye to these cars, but that one is a non-points race that can feature drivers not in the points championship. Here tonight at Mosport is the final one, round number 6 on the points grid. We've been to Road Atlanta, to Chicago, Donington, Zandvoort, Phillip Island, and now back in North America in many of these drivers' Daniel's backyard for this championship race, a track that a lot of them are really familiar with.
Oh, definitely. It's certainly a bit of a crowd favorite. And as you said, a lot of them are local. Certainly Mr. Broomhead, Yang, they're definitely in that area. I can't say for sure who else is, but certainly it's a familiar track, especially as we're majority is Canadian drivers. I say that loosely. Broomhead is English, but he is in Canada. But yeah, you know, a bit of a crowd favorite, this one.
And let's take a look high and above and zoom in to Bowmanville, Ontario. This racetrack had played host to the Formula One Canadian Grand Prix as recently as 1977. But there is still so much exciting stuff that happens at this 2.459-mile circuit that, if you look at the track map, will clock in with 10 corners. It is going to be a fun one tonight. We kind of walk through it, some of the most infamous corners. Of course, I think this racetrack is pretty known for Moss Corner, that kind of double apexer, turns 5A into 5B. It is one of the most challenging and, I think, scenic racetrack as well. I mentioned Formula One has been hosted here. So many other top racing series have been at this facility that has been open since the late 1950s. But this configuration that has been around for quite some time now has seen a lot. And you mentioned when a lot of drivers consider this track to be in their backyard. Daniel, we were referencing last week, some of the other BiS championships also going to be racing here at Mosport in the coming weeks. There is a bit of an identity that drivers latch onto with their hometown track. It could be any track in the world. If it's your hometown track, you love it. You seem to identify with it, you enjoy racing at it, and you tend to be pretty good at it because you like to spend a lot of time there. So I suspect we're going to be seeing everybody in the field in tip-top shape.
Oh, absolutely. But let's take a little bit of a quick look at the points. They're pretty close. Let's have a quick peek. And here they are, as you can see there for the Drivers' Championship. We've got Michael Broomhead, a little bit biased in some ways. He's the head lead organizer. He's at 261. Stuart Ross just behind him, but Stuart hasn't managed to make it today, as far as I know. But he was on the hunt trying to find a seat. He could just set up a rig. So potentially that could be him out of the running. Zach Buchanan, he's there in third with 237. John Beverly behind him with 226. And Assad Nakadenbev, one of the younger drivers on the grid, with 195 in fifth. Followed up by Clovis Gerard, Nick Horvath, Matthew Murphy, Richard Swindells, and Keenan Harris.
And it's tough for Ross, who lost the championship last season in the final race on a vacation. To your point, does not look like he's going to be able to find a rig and compete tonight. That takes him out of it. It would leave Broomhead, Buchanan, Benvalid, and Nakadenbev as the four drivers in contention with 80 points up for grabs. Even Assad at minus 66 has a shot, but certainly losing the driver that's minus 3 points does change the dynamic. Buchanan at minus 24 is a little bit more of a legwork behind, and it is going to take a stellar performance from the 40, from the 08, from the 23 to get up and into the conversation. And Broomhead, I suspect, with a gap of 24, is going to need some sort of trouble if he is going to find himself on the outs before this night is done. Of course, his team in Trace Britannia Ice Sports leads the team championship as well. We'll be following the driver and the team championship all night long, but the qualifying session has drawn to a close, so let's go trackside and take a look at your starting grid for race number 1 of 3 on the afternoon. And it is Zach Buchanan, a big statement for the driver who is chasing your championship leader to start on pole. A 126.727 is the only driver in the 126s. He's on the front row next to Michael Broomhead. Green flag in the air for race number 1. 3 wide, second spot is the battle. Buchanan gets away as the leader, but Yang passes Broomhead for P2.
As it looks like a pretty clean race to start as well. It is definitely what you want to do as much as you want to race aggressively. And I say that, I think that's Swindells. I believe that's Swindells who's gone off. Yes, it is. Car 16, Swindells. He has had a little bit of a detour for Atomic Racing.
Looked like he got squeezed a little bit on the inside of Graham Lobin. That car spun sideways. He got a piece of Assad Nakadenbev, one of your championship hopefuls, but Nakadenbev able to drive away without incident. And now for the first time, down to that double apexer right-hand corner, 5A, 5B, and even 5C, the left-hand kink here on the exit. And then they'll head down the longest straight on this racetrack, the Mario Andretti straightaway.
Yeah, I was just having a quick review of that Swindells accident. It looks like he caught the back wheel of Graham Lobin a little bit, and then Nakadenbev just kind of clipped on the way past as well. A little bit unfortunate, but at the minute, things seem to be going pretty clean out front. The championship leaders are currently in contention, you could say.
Yeah, Assad dodged that near bullet, nearly getting clipped. Oh, and more trouble. There goes Joseph Yang around. Back into the racetrack, turns 8 and 9 through the S's. Yang off track. He's going to be able to spin it back around in the grass without further incident, as it looks like James Doherty forced to pit road to get some damage repair. Richard Swindells does make the pass on Joseph Yang for position. And now you jump back up to the battle for 4th on back. That is Assad Nakadenbev, who's got the spot at the moment. And the white 27 chasing him is Clovis Gerard. They're already about 3 seconds and change, though, off of your leaders. Buchanan 1, Broomhead 2, and Sam Trentopoulos rounds out your top 3 at the moment.
Definitely been a colourful start so far. I've seen another incident first time round. Moss corner, Doherty, Covey, and one more got involved in a little bit of a whoops there. But, definitely not what you had in mind. And you can see there the car's trying to run right a little bit there, Nakadenbev, and it opens the door there. I believe that's Clovis Gerard. Yeah, that's right. Clovis Gerard has managed to sneak on by, and Cedric O'Hyan right behind him as well. Now, I do remember, Evan, it is a good thing to remember with these cars just how important the draft is, especially at a track like Mosport.
It really is. And on this long straightaway, it was a bad exit for Dekonobev at a 5, but in the end, he'll lead this group of 3 back down to turn number 8. Cedric Ohayon try to go the outside way around Clovis Girard, get another spot. Left-hander, turn number 9, he's got it. And that means he'll be able to be defensive here. Right-hander with the curbs, turn number 10. And that is the end of lap number 2. Girard looking to the inside of Ohayon. Look like behind them, a couple of more cars thinking about some 2x2 action as well. Again, all of this is off the leaders. You're not missing anything. Buchanan has led from the start. Broomhead still on his heels in second. This battle for 5th on back. Some of the best stuff on the track. Big slide that time as Clovis Girard is getting aggressive.
And they got to remember as well that, you know, as much as you want to push hard, your result from this race will carry over into race 2. And, you know, you really got to try and control the inhibitions, you could say, for this race. You know, just try and get in a solid result. You know, just keep it on the track. You know, race 2, top 10, you know, result. Oh, no, that's Ohayon. Ohayon's gone round.
Big spin in front of traffic as he just got too aggressive, went wide in the middle of that double apex 5 that we've already referenced several times, and then it checked everybody else up, and Clovis Girard got hit from behind. Curious if there's going to be any additional damage to Graham Loban's machine. That car got a little bit airborne with the front 2 tires off the track, and you can see Girard and Doherty already off of the lead lap in this one. A decent bit of attrition as we now set our eyes up to the front of the field. Buchanan has led from the drop. He entered tonight as the challenger in this points championship, trying to chase down Michael Broomhead. 24 points is the gap between the two of them. Buchanan now looking to the inside, trying to take the top spot back from Michael Broomhead, and he's got it.
Definitely quite a wide line there from Broomhead. I don't think it's quite what he had in mind, but another thing we got to think about as well is, you know, it's good going for the, like, getting ahead now, but to pull away from the guy behind you, especially these cars at this track, it is an almost impossible task. You need the person behind to basically drop the ball and make a mistake. So, you know, you've almost got to wonder as well. They were saying that fuel was going to be very tight for this race. It's going to be cutting it close. You know what? I wonder if Broomhead's keeping that in mind and just trying to sandbag it a little bit behind Buchanan.
I was just about to bring that up. Broomhead had mentioned in the pre-race drivers meeting, these drivers have enough fuel to go an estimated 11.2 laps. That's important because, well, you see a clock in the top left-hand corner of your screen. You may wonder, well, how does that translate to a timer? Well, this timer is going to allow us to do 11 laps in total. My thought would be, Zippy, as a non-professional driver on the sim, is 11.2 on fuel should be able to get me there even without any draft. But to your point, seems like maybe Broomhead not in a rush to get out and in front and would love to save just a little bit here and there to have some extra insurance.
Definitely. Like, I find whenever I'm in the car, if I'm worrying about fuel, my lap time just absolutely falls off the cliff. You know, I can't, even with auto fuel on, I'm focused on it. It's a distraction. And at this level of competition, you do not need a distraction. You need to be able to focus, especially like right now, he's 0.1 of a second behind Buchanan. It's open wheel cars. There isn't really room for forgiveness. Don't get me wrong. If you dip a wheel in the grass, you might get away with it. The walls are a little bit far away, depending on where you go, that you could potentially, you know, have some forgiveness. But certainly the track position would be lost and you would fall through the field. So, you know what? If I'm Broomhead, I'm going to stick right behind Buchanan. And not only that, you're then applying the pressure to him to make a mistake.
And the other part of this dynamic is that Zach Buchanan, again, has a 24-point gap up to your championship leader. Yes, there are 80 points on the line, but there are not going to be 80 points if the difference between these two is one spot on track. So Broomhead to the outside, down the long, Mario Andretti straight away, inside positioning to Buchanan, and he's going to let Buchanan have it. I know that Broomhead wants to end this season with an exclamation point, Zippy, but in all honesty, he could let Buchanan win all 3 races, but if he finishes on a gearbox in P2, there are not going to be enough points on the table for Buchanan to catch him.
You're certainly better at math than I am there, Evan. Like, I wanted these equations so much, but I'd have to put it in front of me. You know, I'm mental arithmetic is good, with a single equation, but you start getting multiple in there, I'm pooched. But you know, like the more I watch him, though, you're right. Like I do think that is another strategy he can have, but I think the name of the game has got to be clean finishes, and the more he can keep Buchanan under pressure, the better his odds of, you know, having that championship success.
And the good news as well for Broomhead is if he's saving or being conservative as they run, it is not hurting their standing in the overall leaderboard, right? Sometimes you may try to deploy that save and wait strategy, but if you're kind of punting around, it may allow other drivers to catch you. That's not the case. They've pulled to now 3 seconds away from Sam Trentopoulos, who's in the number 3 spot. Let's jump back and out of the battle for what is going to be 4th on back there. It's Robert Covey leading the charge, but Nikodenbev is the one under fire. Joseph Yang steps out to the right-hand side in the blue and red number 46 car. He is clear, but the straightaway is so long that Nikodenbev gets in line. Now he's got the toe back down to the final set of corners. Thought about a move, but wasn't able to get the spot.
Well, certainly, if you're in Kobe's seat right now, you're going to want Nikodenbev and Yang to fight as much as possible. We see Nikodenbev making an absolutely beautiful move into the final turn, but Yang is right there with him, and as you can see there, it's just giving Kobe a little bit of an opportunity just to pull away a little bit. But I do want to mention Kobe a little bit more, because even though he was involved in an incident earlier, first lap of Moss Corner, he's currently up 8 places. Hard charger, not by a little bit, but by a lot. The next closest is Nikodenbev with 4 places. Kobe's got 8.
Yeah, he has been on it, and it is a big improvement. I don't think his qualifying lap was a miss by any means. I mean, 128.1, certainly not, I think, what he would have liked, but it was only 1 spot lower in the order than where he was in practice. His fastest lap in practice was a 127.9. So it's not like he was somebody who was cranking out hot laps, but just missed it in queue. But clearly, Covey comfortable on the long run, and that's where he's made up the lion's share of these points. And yeah, some drivers have had some issues. Gerard, Mielman, O'Hyan, Doherty off the lead lap, but that would only account for 4 spots of the 8, to your point, that he has gained. So he has done a fantastic job of driving through the field, and I don't think has any intention of allowing those next cars in line to get it back by with ease. Yang looks high, maybe kind of a pump fake, tried to cross back to the inside in turn number 8, not going to do it. Let's see, does Nikodenbev go for the dive to the bottom here in 10? He did it last lap, he does it again, tries to go for both, and spins it out.
Oh, and he clipped another one as he rolled back. Oh,
I saw that one coming. He tried it last lap, but I thought, is he going to go for it again? And not only did he go for the move on Covey, but also tried to get the 2-for-1 special on Yang, drove it onto the curb, spun it out, and then, to your point, as he was sitting there in the middle of the racetrack, clipped the car coming by of Richard Swindles, spun that car out, and that is big left rear damage on Swindles. He's forced to pit road. So is Nikodenbev, and that is a couple of cars gone in the blink of an eye. Inside now of 4 minutes left on the clock.
Definitely not what he had in mind. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm all for an ambitious move, but that one was... It was a Dan Salmon classic, like 2-3 cars back, and generally, as we go through the race, the more moves I do, that number of cars hysterically increases. But right now, Broomhead's making a move. But let's have a quick look at this replay. You see Nikodenbev, he comes in a bit hot. Kobe kind of got away with that one there, but you just see Nikodenbev, he just should have kept the foot on the brake there, young lad. He just rolled back, and poor Swindles, just collateral damage.
Fortunately for Nikodenbev, right at the pit road entry to head down to the pits, but again, that car has not been able to get back out onto the racing surface yet, so it may be for naught if it is going to be race-ending contact for Nikodenbev. Nothing changed up front. Buchanan, Broomhead continue to fight for the race lead. They have been doing this since the drop of the green flag, and again, continue to prove to be the class of the field here in this Mosport finale. And I guess as first and third in the championship coming into tonight, I think we would suspect nothing less. I'm sure they have spent a lot of time here on the sim over the course of the last 2 weeks practicing for this race. Buchanan, the driver, chasing from behind in the points. Broomhead, the one playing defense from the top spot in the championship. They're going to definitely race this one out between the two of them. I think the question becomes, Again, what is Broomhead's end goal here? It reminds me of the conversation we had a couple of weeks back at Phillip Island, where we clearly identified the back straightaway sequence of corners as where you needed to make your race-winning pass, because you could not make a pass back in the final 3 or 4 turns. Is it the same thing here at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park? You see Broomhead outside through that long front stretch. If you get clear here, there is an opportunity right there to the outside as Buchanan stays along to challenge for the win in the final turn. We did not see that option at Phillip Island.
It's definitely one of the perks of this track. I mean, don't get me wrong, I feel kind of guilty. It's not one of my favorite tracks. I do enjoy it. I've just really struggled for pace here, and I have to do probably similar to what Kobe's doing, you know, where I can't set the blistering fast lap. I have to go purely for racecraft and attrition, and, you know, that for me makes it a little bit of a challenge. But these guys, yeah, definitely not having a challenge getting around here. Broomhead has took the lead back off Buchanan, and a little shout as well, Trantopoulos. He's playing it a little bit sneaky, just qualifies in 4th. You know, he's having a very tidy race. Sat in a comfortable position in 3rd. You know, that's a decent place to be in.
It's been a while since we've seen Trantopoulos on track. It has to go back to the streets of Chicago, back for races 4, 5, and 6 of the season. Had a couple of okay finishes there, but this is certainly the best run we have seen out of the 33 car all season long, and good to see him back on track as the leaders are side by side once more, approaching to what's going to be the white flag, this time by the bright yellow 00 is your championship leader, Michael Broomhead, and the blue and red 40 is Zach Buchanan. He is the challenger in 2nd. Broomhead will take the white flag from the top spot. 1 lap to go. What can Zach Buchanan do?
Well, at the minute, he's got that lead right ahead. The bright yellow with the Broomhead following. But, you know, at the minute, I don't think this is going to be decided, you know, until the very last corner. I've seen it here in the F1200s even, where literally it will come down to the line, where it is literally a photo finish, because one person will get the inside line and they'll be able to carry like a little bit more of an exit speed. It all depends on what line they get through that final corner.
Buchanan playing defense, has led the most laps, but that's not going to help him in the championship. What he needs is to get the win here in race number 1 on the night. And they're going to head now at a turn 5 to that long Mario Andretti straightaway. What can Broomhead in the blue and red 00 do?
Well, he's about 4 tenths back at the start of the straight, and we're going to really see the draft kick in at this point. Buchanan just trying to shake that draft a little bit. Not only that, he probably wants Broomhead out of his mirrors, and he's certainly not had that luxury as they head in for the final time of this race, heading into that final section.
He looks to the outside. Going to be side by side in the battle for the race lead to turn number 8. Broomhead stays on the throttle. It's the outside of 8, but it's going to be the inside of 9. Now clear for the race lead is Zach Buchanan. Broomhead looks low in 10. Does not force the issue, and Zach Buchanan takes home checkered flag in race number 1. He is doing everything he can to stay in this championship battle, but it is only going to knock 3 points off of Broomhead's 24-point championship advantage, because Broomhead was right there in P2. And I think talking strategy, that's probably the right move there, Zippy. Don't risk wrecking the car, DNFing it if you're Broomhead. The P2, again, is more than enough to continue on the road to securing that championship here tonight.
I honestly think, you know, I've got to know Broomhead quite well, obviously, and, you know, he's not the super aggressive driver, but he certainly, you know, he's not one to, you know, shy away from a pass either. But I think the more sensible head is prevailing tonight. I think he weighed up risk versus reward and just said, you know what, them extra 3 points, they're just not worth it for me at this point. I'm sat in a stable position, and not only that, it's going to carry over to race 2. He will start in 2nd place. You know, that is a fantastic spot to be in, you know. The inverse grid, however, you know what? If you drop back a little bit and he ends up 10th, definitely not a bad position to be in.
Let's take a look at your full results from race number 1 on the afternoon. But In the broad scope of the championship, race number 16 in the books with the checkered flag in that one. And again, Buchanan starts from pole and gets the win. He's ahead of the championship leader, Michael Broomhead, who sees his lead slip slightly from 24 to 21, but still well on the way to securing the title. Trentopoulos, Yang, and Ikovi, your top 5. Benvelet and Loeb in the last cars on the lead lap, and it'll be DNFs, or drivers finishing off of the lead lap for everybody else from P8 on back. And again, without the invert for race number 2, it means that your starting grid for race 2 is exactly what we were just talking about. Buchanan, therefore, gets pole once more. Broomhead going to be to the outside of what isn't really a front row. He's kind of staggered back a full car lengths. He'll be on the left-hand side. I think those two showed that they are very much, again, the class of the field. So the question will be, can they get away from the rest of the field cleanly, Zippy, knowing that it was a pretty, high rate of attrition, I'd say, in the first lap of race number 1.
Well, attrition is going to be certainly what is on Nicardembev's mind. He's now back in 11th place, and this is a chance for him to get his way back towards the podium. Don't get me wrong, there is a lot of traffic between him, Zach, and Michael, well, Buchanan, Broomhead, and himself. But I don't think he's just going to walk through the field, and he's definitely going to have to be a little bit more controlled this time around. Doherty, he's at the back of the field after that pretty catastrophic incident. So there's a few people who are going to be keen to start making a move through.
So they are lined up on the grid and ready to go. You see the kind of vintage Mosport International Raceway flag stand where Barney drops the green flag and we're underway, but it is a poor start for Michael Broomhead. Through to second to go Sam Trentopoulos. Third for a moment was Joseph Yang, but he will yield to Broomhead Team Cars in third and fourth. So Broomhead ends up only 1 in the negative, and now it's a big loss for Yang as Benvelet gets around him for P4.
Well, it's definitely, it's a good thing having team cars at that effect because, when you need a little bit of help, and to say that now, a team car's just gone off. That's one of the Lima Racing cars. Let's have a quick look. Who is
Trentopoulos?
Trentopoulos, damn.
We were just talking about how good the night was going. A best finish for him this season with a third in the first race on the night, and it was a self-spin backing the 33 car into the tire barriers. You can see Sam is back on track now, but that is going to drop him all the way down to 13th spot. Curious, A, what the damage is on that car, and if it's not too bad, he's got a lot of speed. I guess B is then, can he drive through the field? Because if he's got the same speed as he had in race number 1, he'll be back up there in no time. Battle you're looking at now is for second spot. It is Michael Broomhead now back ahead of John Benvelet. And after what looked like a terrible start for the 00 car, dropped quickly from second to fourth, and maybe the thoughts started creeping into my mind on this thing is not over yet. Big implications in the championship. He gets both of those spots back before the end of lap 1.
It's definitely a sweet recovery from Broomhead. But speaking of a sweet recovery, Nicardembev, he's not plowing through the field. He is charging through the field right now, up 6 positions, and he's in a really, really sweet spot. I mean, he's got Kobe about a tenth, 2 tenths ahead of him. Don't get me wrong, Kobe's having a really good night, but Nicardembev is just absolutely on it tonight. He's just got to keep it clean. If he gets past Kobe, he's going to be gunning for Benvelet very shortly, and then even potentially Broomhead and Buchanan.
And Nicardembev quickly picking up, to your point, those 6 spots with another one maybe in front of him as Robert Kobe gets backed up to the gearbox, and Nicardembev's certainly going to have a good look now as they head off to the Mario Andretti straightaway. Nicardembev, I think, is clear enough from behind that he's not going to get an attack from Gerard. So it is going to be Covey playing the defensive. We look on the board with Robert Covey, bottom right of your screen, kind of looking up to the rear view mirror. He knows it's coming. Nicardembev steps at a line to the left-hand side. They're also side by side behind these two, Yang and Gerard, in the battle for P6. And Nicardembev does clear down into turn 8.
Well, this gives Gobi an opportunity because if he can stick to the rear of that car ahead of him, he could potentially use the toe to give him an extra little bit of pace. Is he going to be enough to pull away from Yang, Gerard, or Hyen, Doherty, maybe even Swindles as well? I don't know, but certainly having that car ahead of him, I feel that could actually be beneficial for him.
We'll see where these two shake out in relation to everybody else. They're kind of peaking in the midfield, right? 3.3 seconds off of the leaders. You can see that lead group. That's them up the road. The bad news in that case is that if you're Exxon Econobev, there's nothing else really to gain. I don't think you're going to catch Buchanan, Broomhead, and Benvalid unless the pace is unreal. We saw good pace out of Assad in race number 1, had a speed, which is why he ended up back at P11, but Econobev, I think, more so in defensive mode for the majority of this race from this point on out, because he's pulling away a little bit from Kobe, but Gerard, Yang, Ohayon, Doherty, they're all still there. There is more to lose than there is to gain currently for Assad, but if he keeps up this speed, he's not going to give those drivers behind him a chance to get to his heels. He was far enough away from Kobe that time at a 5 that as they head down the backstretch, he will not be caught by the time they get to turn 8. You need that pad of about 7 or 8 car lengths to be able to stay ahead, given how long that that backstretch, I should say, is.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we was watching in race 1, like the gap that my apologies, the gap that Broomhead and Buchanan, it was about 4 tenths down to, like, pretty much level pegging. If you was close enough, you was like 6 tenths, 4 tenths, you was enough that the car would be within range of like making a strike. And I say that, it looks like Gerard was, I thought he was going to have a little bit of a sniff on Kobe then, but I do wonder if Nakanabev. Oh, is right. Well said, sir. Oh dear.
Big off and in a heaping pile of metal on the side of the road was Joseph Yang. That came out of nowhere, and it was a double dose of spinning. Those two cars both came off of the corner, got a little bit of grass, and watch the hit for Yang. Right there, Yang breaks sideways, and it's almost a mirrored image for Cedric Ohayon, Zippy, because Ohajon's just simply following the line of the car in front of him. And they both dip those left side tires into the grass, and both have a big shunt.
It's definitely not the preferred suspension setup, and a little bit unfortunate. You can see there, speaking of suspension, Mr. Yang, he is currently rocking the tripod in that case. And, it's a little bit unfortunate, but if he can just get that back out on track, don't get me wrong, he's in 11th place right now, and he's pretty much brown bread at this point. But, if he can get that car back out on track quickly, if somebody else has an incident and he can just about get it into 10th, he could be starting P1 for the final points race of the season.
Yeah, that P10 spot is what they're all searching for, and right now it's occupied by Trentopoulos, who was, not that long ago, P12. He's gained some positions. It's basically the last running car would stand to benefit the most from the top 10 invert, and again, not necessarily be in the championship conversation, but an opportunity to play spoiler, steal some of the spotlight, and end the point season on a high. Swindles other drivers in that ranking as well, 8, 9, 10, so on. They would benefit the most, courtesy of the invert. We are seeing something, though, up front that we have not yet seen tonight, and it's just ahead of those two, and that is the fact that Zach Buchanan is a full 1 second ahead of John Benvalid. Now, Broomhead and Benvalid have been fighting from the jump. When Broomhead had that poor start, was able to get back around John on lap 1, but I'm curious if it's that fighting that has allowed Buchanan to get this advantage. We were just talking about maybe 8 car lengths is the gap you need to be far enough away on this run down the backstretch to not get overtaken. Benvalid made up about 1.5 to 2 tenths on Buchanan that time alone on the front stretch. But if Buchanan can keep him at about that 1 second gap, I don't know if Benvalid and Broomhead can get back to him.
Well, he's certainly going to be driving the wheels off that car right now as much as he can get out of that F1600 without basically making the wheels fall off. Because, if Benvalid and Broomhead catch him, then all of a sudden he's got a battle on his hands again. And in case you're wondering, Broomhead, he'd actually dropped back a little bit a couple of laps ago. Not this corner, not this one. Well, this long right-hander he's coming up to, he actually went and dipped a tire. I'm pointing at the screen. You guys can't see it. He dipped a tire on this corner like a lap or two ago, just like Benvalid's going to do. Oh, so close. Almost did a repeat of what Broomhead did, and that's what made him fall back through the field a little bit. I say fall back through the field, he lost the position, but all of a sudden, Benvalid's just done pretty much the same thing as Mike did, and, Broomhead goes ahead. This gives him an open shot at Buchanan, but saying that, I'm not sure there's time. There's about 6-7 minutes left of the race, and he's got to make up 1.4 seconds. He is not going to get any help from a draft for that. And then not only that, if Benvalid basically chooses to battle with Broomhead, he's just going to get held up.
Curious if there's going to be any thought from those cars in second and third on not fighting with each other, but I think they could almost benefit from a couple of passes. If that second car in line, in this case, the green 08 Benvalid, could draft and pass Broomhead at the end of the front or the backstretch, then that would essentially then kind of exchange the tow. They would start to make up time because that kind of slingshot maneuver is not possible with Buchanan up front. But at least, given the small sample size of the last few laps, yes, they've been fighting, so it does hinder them a little bit, but I just don't see Broomhead and Benvalid being able to say, all right, let's just stay single file, let's chase him down. I don't think they are fast enough to get to Buchanan. That would be a discredit to the speed we've seen out of the 40 tonight, and I have no reason to suspect that Buchanan cannot maintain this pace if we're just talking about straight speed. And again, we did not see this in race number 1 on the night, but Buchanan enjoying what he has seen, or maybe what he's not seen, out of the mirror, and that is the lack of a challenge from these cars in second and third.
Yeah, at this point, you'd almost wonder if he's basically took the mirror off and tossed it to the side, because after having Broomhead riding his bumper for so long, well, I say bumper, the car doesn't have a bumper, but the point still stands. After seeing Broomhead in his rearview mirror for so long, you know, you'd almost want a refresher, but the gap has increased from 1.4 to 1.8 seconds, and I think it's exactly what we're saying is Benvalid and Broomhead are going at it, and you know what? Even if Broomhead gets third for this race, you know what? That means he's going to start 7th for the next one. It's not the end of the world. They're still going to have to move through the field in that last race. But I'm also seeing another battle going on as well. It's between the Cardenbev and Gerard, the 23 versus the 27. Both of them doing really well, moving up through the field. The Cardenbev recovered 7 positions as well, tied with James Doherty, actually, who's also recovered 7 positions. But Gerard behind him, he's having a pretty good race this round. He's up 4 positions as well. The young lad, he actually he works on cars as well. He, I believe, F1600s, but more specifically, I think he helps crew chief for some radicals as well. So great to see somebody who's not just sim racing, but hands-on involved as well, as he's trying to, I think he's going to put a nose on the Cardenbev. He's not too sure. He's having a sniff, but not quite committing to the move.
Thought about it, to your point, doesn't commit this time, but this goes back to what I said about Nikonenbev at about lap 3, is he had peaked. He had passed all the cars that he could realistically get to, and there was nothing else left out front. At that time, he was about 3 seconds off of the leaders. Now he's about 8 seconds off. Again, some of that will be the fact that he's been fighting with Gerard and others. But my point at that time was he's stuck playing defense now. You're not going to just drive down from 4 seconds back and to catch the leaders. The problem is, well, this is what he's been dealing with, and that is Clovis Gerard's pretty even to him on speed and just has not gone away. They've been able to shake Doherty, they've been able to shake Covey, but not each other, and they're going to go back and forth like we saw your race leaders in the first race on the night, Buchanan and Bruhem, do all the way through this one. Look at that one. Gerard cleared him halfway through the straight, and then Nikonenbev got it back before they got to turn 8.
And our director noticing as well that he's not using the paddle shift, but he's actually going, he believes it's an H pattern. I'm not sure if it's a H pattern. Yeah, no, that looks like a H pattern to me. I got to hand it to the lad. Like, I drive a stick shift every day. That's all I got, 2 stick shifts. And I cannot stick shift on the sim for love or money. So, you know what? Don't tell him I said this. You can watch the stream once to find out. But sheer respect to the guy for doing that. The only thing that gets me is I don't know if I'd be happy doing it with like a Formula style wheel for this.
It's an interesting one, right? The wheel that you choose to use, the shifter that you choose to use in your rig is not limited by the car that you're driving on the sim. So we will see drivers often use the Formula style rim, even when they're driving some oval racing, maybe super speedway things where you're not going to get a lot of wheel lock. Again, it's all simply driver preference. But it is kind of funny that it is paired with the H-pattern shifter. I will more often see Zippy drivers, say in a NASCAR stock car or something similar, where it is a sequential shifter or an H-pattern shifter, not use the H-pattern because the paddles are easier. Interesting that Clovis has got the paddles on that Formula-style wheel that he's using, but has opted to go for the H-pattern instead, which forces him to take the hand off the wheel like he does right there, while being side-by-side at 115 miles an hour.
Well, I got to hand it to the young lad. You know, he's got a little bit of extra respect for me. I'm still going to razz him every time I see him, but you know, that's part of the fun, right? We have a good laugh, but you know what? He's having a cracking drive at the minute. Like Nakata Bev is definitely no slouch, but I think what's happening as well. I think Doherty may just get a sniff. He's coming into view. No, there's a minute and a half to go. I'm thinking we've got more racing happening. He just looks so much closer than he is.
He does, but I think maybe Doherty going to run out of time because up front, we are inside of 2 laps to go in this race. Going to be white flag in the air the next time by for Buchanan, who's been able to grow his advantage over current P2 runner. Oh, Benvalid sideways there. Third place, trying to chase back down to Broomhead, but got a little bit out of shape. Let's see as a kind of a trial run here. 4 car lengths back on the exit of turn 5. Does he get to Broomhead before they hit turn 8?
He's definitely going to have a run at it. You see, Benvalid is a little bit more motivated to get them extra points. Broomhead is the one in control of this situation right now. I say that. Benvalid's making a move on the outside. And I got to say as well, these guys are leaving a very generous amount of spaces. I think the pair of them are having a little bit of a four-wheel drift there. Almost from that camera view, I say they're leaving space. I thought there was a line of 3 tires in a row then, and Broomhead just about manages to hold on from Benvalid. But the battle is not over yet. Benvalid is absolutely adamant he wants that second place, putting a nose in into turn 1.
He puts the nose into turn number 1, and they're going to stay side by side, a white flag in the air. Final lap here in race number 2 of 3. It's the penultimate race of the season. Benvalid, unable to clear Broomhead despite the challenge, stays in the wake. He's going to be as close to the gearbox as he can as they come through the sweeping right-hand corner, turn number 3. Left-hand kink downhill for turn 4. It'll then be that double apex, turn 5 Moss corner as they head to the straightaway. 3 seconds now behind Buchanan.
Well, definitely Buchanan's had like the perfect race you could ever hope for in this scenario. You know, it's absolutely what he wanted. The only thing that would make it better is if Broomhead had fallen back through the field. Certainly, we'd have to double check the points. I will have a quick look at that between races 2 and 3. But Benvalid, he's back on the charge again. And you know what? I'm pleased to see he's having a good race. I do sometimes mention it, but Lima Racing really supportive as a team to the series. You know, like they often put up practice sessions for the guys, and you know they don't ask us to put them up, they just put them up themselves and then invite everybody along. So thank you again, Lima Racing. You know, I'm thinking John Benvalid, Cedric O'Hyan, you know, all the guys over there at Lima, thank you for doing that.
Checkered flag, Zach Buchanan wins his second on the night, and Broomhead will get his second consecutive runner-up as he's able to win that battle with John Benvalid coming to the stripe. We saw them exchange it twice down that back straightaway, made the pass, thought it was over, fought back on the inside, and it is once more a Buchanan 1 and a Broomhead 2. It's safe to say that Zach Buchanan understood the assignment coming into this race. It's only the second time this year that he has started a night by winning the first 2 feature races. The only other time that happened was back on the streets of Chicago. However, Broomhead still doing just enough. He'll slip, I think, to 18 back in the championship. He's still 18 ahead of Zach Buchanan. So the 40 doing everything he can, but Broomhead just too good right now for Zach to get any big chunk now as we look forward to the invert in one final race.
It's definitely, Buchanan's been a force to be reckoned with, but that inverse grid is going to be fantastic for some, not so good for others. And I think the biggest thing these guys have got to remember in this scenario, if you're fighting for the championship, as much as you're going to want to absolutely like push people out of the way just to try and get back to the front, you got to play it smart. You got to play it reserved. You know, it's not like risk versus reward. You're going to be fighting so many different emotions, so many different feelings, because obviously you're motivated. You want to get forward. You want to get them points, but you need to survive first. And especially the first lap, cold tires, guys, they are not going to feel the same as they did just a few moments ago. You've got to get back into the fact that, okay, the car is cold.
And it's worth noting, just looking at the championship results so far from this season, knock on wood, that we have not yet seen a driver be able to do a 3-for-3 sweep on the season. And the reason behind that is because of the invert that is coming up next. First for Buchanan will mean 10th on the grid. Sure, Broomhead had that bit of a hiccup, Zippy, at the starter race 2 there, but he very quickly got back to P2 and didn't have to deal with traffic. Both Broomhead and Buchanan going to be in a dangerous situation. They're going to be in traffic. If this championship is, and again, the numbers are being run now, and we'll confirm it, but again, I believe that gap is at 17 points is what it's currently showing at. There is enough of a risk that if Broomhead gets into an accident while racing mid-pack, where we've seen accidents happen tonight, that this championship still could be lost. This invert should scare Broomhead, and it should excite Buchanan, given the fact that he has an opportunity to fight his way through and try to win another one.
Well, definitely. Well, where Buchanan won the last race, he's going to be P10. You know, we know that. Broomhead, was he P2, P3? Yeah, P2. They're still going to be side by side. So, you know, it's still going to be a battle. I think, you know, it's going to be a case of how well do they navigate the traffic ahead of them, you know? Don't get me wrong as well. These guys are quick, but being quick is one thing. Racecraft is another. And both of these guys are not to knock them, you know. They can do both. They're fast, you know, they're decent in traffic. But I do find Broomhead is a little bit more accident prone. I love the guy, but he is a little bit more accident prone when it comes to traffic.
I'm just trying to see where the gaps would have to be. Again, at a 17-point difference, it means that Cedric O'Hyan got 9 points in this most recent race after finishing in 11th spot. It would mean that I think Broomhead would have to finish 12th or 13th. And then it would have to be a win for Zach Buchanan. That would be a scenario in which there are enough points on the line for the championship to be turned over. So it is not secured, and it is still up in the air with one race to go. From Broomhead's perspective, that sounds pretty good, right? Oh, just don't finish second to last or last. But again, it's that invert. He would feel, I'm sure, a lot more comfortable being on the front row. Instead, part of his destiny not in his hands, because he is going to be in some uncomfortable positions. And again, this isn't a statement of opinion. It's just a statement of fact. He's going to be starting behind cars that are slower than him based on the invert. So he's going to be aggressive, having to make moves. And this is going to be an exciting final race of the season with the championship on the line.
Yeah, the points as we're reading at the minute, they are unofficial. There is bonus points to be applied as well, but certainly it is the best information we have to go off. And don't get me wrong as well, Mike calculates the points, and Mike is in the lead, but, you know, he's legit. Oh, not a nervous laugh. He is actually legit, but, you know, it's one of those things where it's just the information we've got at the minute. But certainly, you know, it's going to be a close one in the end. And it's not just that, you know, that last race, Evan, wouldn't you want to win it if you won the championship? Don't you want to just go out on a high?
Hey, nobody wants to, you know, win it and, you know, just do just enough to get 7th. Will they remember how you win it in the championship race in a year's time? Probably not, right? I think the only thing that'll stand the test of time is the trophy. But as a racer, yeah, you want to win with the walk-off, with the win in the last race, a statement, an exclamation point. And I suspect that is what we will see Broomhead try to do from the tail end of the field. But he's going to have to get there, because as the checkered flag flies on the final warm-up session of the night, let's go trackside and take a look at our final grid of the season. So P10 in the second race inverts to pole, and that means that starting up front for this third and final race will be Sam Trentopoulos. That car has had a lot of speed tonight. Can he use the track position to get the win? Matthew Muehlman, therefore, gets flip-tail start in second. Richard Swindles will start in third, with Robert Covey in fourth. James Doherty, right in the middle of it all. He'll start P5 with Assad Nakatambev alongside in sixth. And then the heavy hitters, Clovis Gerard ends up in seventh, John Benville in eighth, and the two names who have dominated the storylines tonight, championship leader Michael Broomhead is P9, championship challenger Zach Buchanan P10. They will start ahead of the drivers who don't reap the benefits of the invert. That'll be Ohayon, Yang, and Lobin, 11, 12, and 13.
It's definitely going to be a fun race. I'm hoping they keep it clean. I want it to be a clean race. You know, I want these guys to be battling until the checkered flag. That's what I'm really hoping for.
We're happy that you've been with us through the course of this championship. It all started back on November the 8th at Road Atlanta. The season started with a Michael Broomhead race win. Could it end with a Michael Broomhead championship? All cars on the grid, waiting for the green flag as the clock ticks down. And you can't help, no matter how many times you've been in a scenario like this, Zippy, you gotta imagine there's some nerves in these drivers.
Oh, these guys right now, they are having kittens. We're going to have to put up an advert to adopt these kittens. You know, there's got to be at least a couple of litters ready at this point forward.
Here we go. Again, the 33 as Sam Trentopoulos gets the benefit of the invert. He will start from the front. He has had speed tonight, finished third in the first race. Can that track position launch him to a race win over the likes of Broomhead and Buchanan? Catch him from the midfield. Final race of the season for the points championship is ready to go as the clock ticks down. Let's go racing at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Green flag in the air. Here we go.
An absolutely clean start so far. You've seen the Cardin Bev. He's making a move, trying to get that inside line. Broomhead off away well, Buchanan off away well, but already these guys starting to get into single file for the most part. Kobe there, you can see at the front, he's getting past now. Somebody's making a move on the outside. Looks like one of the Lima Racing guys with the Cardin Bev right behind him. As soon as I say single file, it's almost like they heard me. 2 wide, 3 wide even. Oh no, that's Broomhead in the background.
It is Broomhead. Michael Broomhead involved in an accident back in traffic after there was contact between him and Cedric Ohayon. Ohayon went off and into the grass. Broomhead spun across the racetrack, got hit by Joseph Yang, and it is a worst case scenario start for the championship leader.
Let's have a look. What happened here? I see Broomhead. He's coming down. He's
going to be contact with that car next to him right there, just to kind of washed up into the corner. There's nothing Broomhead could have done.
Damn. How much do you reckon Buchanan paid Ohayon?
And that hit there is what I'm worried about. Yang got him in the left rear.
Damn.
Is Broomhead's car severely damaged? Again, rough math would suggest that it needs to be a race win for Zach Buchanan and a 12th or 13th place finish for Michael Broomhead for this championship to be in jeopardy. That car is not going straight. It is hurting, guys, and right now, Broomhead is in P12. In theory, that is far enough back again. Unofficially, bonus points to be factored. He is forced to pit road. Michael Broomhead's championship is in serious danger.
There is one other thing we can factor in, though. Joseph Yang is also Britannia iSports. Now, is there going to be some team tactics go on? He's going to take the fast repair, understandably so. Try and get, there you go, boom, magic. I wish I could fix cars as fast as that. But Buchanan in all of this, Buchanan has moved up 7 places. He's currently sat in 3rd. Graham Lobben as well. He's up 8 places, currently the hard charger. But Broomhead's really going to have to get a move on. Right now, in 11th, he's safe, but you know, he's really going to need to pull something out. Oh!
And the second driver in this championship fight, Zach Buchanan, in an accident as well. He was chasing down John Benvalid. Benvalid spun. He got hit by several other cars. And now chaos strikes the other of your championship hopefuls.
Oh, my gosh.
Can
I'm
you
speechless.
believe the drama in this third and final race? And if you look at the leaderboard on the left-hand side, Broomhead will overtake Ohayon and Yang. Those were the other cars who were on pit road. Oh, the tire comes off of Buchanan's car. He is trying to get to pit road to avoid needing the tow. There is no left front on the 40. It is a big win to be able to limp that car to pit road and avoid the time penalty of needing to tow. but look at him trickle down the leaderboard. It is not going to matter. He had a glimpse of hope, and then it all went away just as quickly with that accident. Buchanan not going to get the championship here tonight.
You say that, what I am hoping for, can he get out the pits quick enough so him and Broomhead can at least battle it out at the end? You know, if you realize this is the situation you're in, like, how big is that gap right now? I think at the minute it's about 3 seconds and growing, so I'd say it's probably a little bit too... I think he's had enough.
Yeah, I think he saw Michael Broomhead blend back out on the racetrack ahead of him, and I think that is going to be the night for Zach Buchanan as he will tow that car back to pit road. Both of your drivers, first and second in the championship, involved in accidents caused by other cars in this third and final race of the night. When it was Broomhead who wrecked out, there was a moment where it looked like the tides had swung in Buchanan's favor, and then just as quickly as we talked about that storyline, it was an accident involving the driver who has won both races tonight, Buchanan. He has parked his car. He is done. And now Broomhead does not need to finish in X amount of positions to secure the championship, because with that retiration, that is it. And Broomhead simply needs to finish this race, and it's going to be a championship for the driver of the 00.
I appreciate the frustration that Buchanan must be having right now, but I definitely would not have parked the car at this point. Don't get me wrong, statistically, do you think Broomhead's going to bin it on his own accord, just doing laps? I don't think so, but you've already ruled yourself out. Let's have another look at this replay here with Buchanan. You can see he's hot on the heels of one of the Lima racing cars going into Moss Corner. And yeah, they've just gone and lost it in front of him.
And he's okay here, but again, he's desperate to get back going. So he's on the gas, and there is where the issue is. You take the time, I think, in any other race, he sees that traffic coming, Zippy says, all right, let me wait, back up, get out of the way, traffic goes through, and he blends back onto the racetrack. But at that point, adrenaline spikes, he's desperate, he sees 6 positions coming, 6 positions that he cannot give away, tries to beat them back to the track, gets hung up on the car in front of him, and then it was that hit that came through as he pulled in front of traffic that did him in.
Yeah, I mean, if anything is balanced, I mean, it was like the same team that kind of was involved with both guys. So in some ways, it was kind of, you know, one for you. And it happens, you know, like nobody's made a mistake here. You know, nobody's made an intentional mistake. You know what I'm trying to say? It's just one of the things, it happens, right? It's unfortunate, certainly for Buchanan, and almost like a blessing for Broomhead at that point, but definitely not the way that either of these guys wanted to secure it. And I'm hoping that Buchanan, you know, I really wish he'd got back out on the track and just kept going. You know, it's not the way you want to finish a series, you know. And even then, getting second is certainly not anything to shake a stick at. I mean, look at the quality of drivers we've got here tonight.
We kind of buried through all of this. We mentioned on the grid what an opportunity this was for Sam Trentopoulos, back on track for the first time in a couple of weeks. Gets the bad luck in race number 2, having a top 3 car on speed, but involved in accidents. Lucks out with the invert, starts this one from pole, and he is whooping them right now, 7+ seconds ahead of Assad Nikotimbev, who's driven through the field from 6th to 2nd. Clovis Girard has driven through from 7th to 3rd. So what a bounce back for those cars.
Yeah, it's definitely been a few people moving around. We got a couple of people up 4 positions, as you were saying, and then we got Graham Lobbin. He's up 6 positions himself. You know, it's kind of awkward, but I'm actually wondering, if I look further down the standings, do we have any other battles going on in terms of points? Now, I look at Robert Covey. He's fighting with Richard Swindles, will be his nearest one. I'm seeing 143 down compared to 156, so this could be interesting.
There are plenty of battles, although the championship conversation will end in flames. Oh, and a big off there as they come through the corner. That was a mistake from the Nikotimbev. Just talking about how good Assad had been doing, and he gives up 2nd and 3rd with an unforced error.
Yeah, definitely not what he had in mind, but don't get me wrong, he's got pace. I'm sure he will be keen on the heels of Doherty before too long. The question is, does he have enough time left in the race to catch back up and then make the pass?
There is still a lot of time left to go in this race. There should be 4 more laps left on the clock when we come by the start-finish line this next time. Again, Assad had actually been closing in on Trimpopoulos a little bit in the battle for the race lead. Not enough to the point where he could, I think, get there, but he was putting down better laps than your leader, and I think maybe that's why he overdrove the car just a little bit. Assad's got a front row view, though, of the battle for what is second and third now. Clovis Gerard behind Doherty, as James Doherty picks up the spot. He'll tentatively go to P2. Going to be a shallow entry into turn number 10. Does that offer an opening here for Gerard, who's got the run? He'll make a look to the inside. Do they go 2x2 in turn 1? Yes.
You see Nikardenbev, he's currently hanging back. You know, he's thinking about making a move, but not quite gone for it yet. You know, I don't know if you really want to go 3 wide at this scenario. You know, it's getting a little tight. I say that now, he starts to put a nose in. Now, Assad, like, you're a great young lad, but, you know, weigh up the pros and cons. Like, I was trying to give him a little bit of a cheeky pep talk, you know, low risk, high reward. And I think he may have forgotten that at this opportune moment. You see Gerard in front of him. Is that Gerard? No, that was contact. Oh, dear, that's not how you want to do it. Gerard getting absolutely rear-ended. Yeah, he is not thrilled.
He got punted on that one. Assad was giving it 110% and just went through the back of Clovis Gerard in front. Gerard is frustrated. That car is back on track. It looks like, yeah, it's heavily damaged. He can barely keep it on the straightaway, and look at the frustration from Clovis Gerard. Goes to show that there is far much more on the line than just the battle for the championship. Those cars at a battle for P2, and that's what it means for Clovis Gerard. He is not happy. Who's smoke up the road? Might have been an off in front. It was James Doherty with a mistake. Self-inflicted error for Doherty, who had been the beneficiary of the contact between Nikardenbev and Gerard, and he loses it on his own in turn number 8, backs it into the tires, and his night is done. I thought the sun was shining here at virtual Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, but if there could be a full moon in the middle of the afternoon, I think we're seeing it here, Zippy, in this final race of the season. Let's watch all of this unfold. Here's going to be the contact in 5. Nikardenbev, too aggressive, gets into Gerard. Oh, there's the bit of a touch there for the 61 car. Maybe that was the precursor to the spin.
Yeah, it could have just damaged something just enough to unsettle the car, you know, understandably so. It wasn't like it was a little nudge. There was definitely enough force there that something would break. So watch, yeah. I think so. The back end's just got loose. That normally would have been stable through there. I'd say that little nudge was enough that just something went out of alignment, perhaps.
I think we have the opportunity now to catch up with Zach Buchanan on the radio as we're inside of 3 minutes to go in this race. Zach, you got a copy?
I'm here.
Well, the night had been going so good. Race wins at both the first and second races on the night. You knew it was going to take a stellar performance from you and some trouble for Michael for you to win this championship, and then all of a sudden, big problems. Broomheads had involved in an accident early in this race. It seems like your window was there, and then the car spins out in front of you. Just tell us about it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it to a T. I'd like it could not have been going any better up to that point, especially my start in the third race. I think I went from 10th to 3rd in the first lap. But yeah, like, John spun in front of me. I know it was an accident. That's not the kind of mistake he makes, but it is what it is. You know, it's just unlucky. I did everything I could tonight. And it was a bit of a long shot, and it didn't end up going my way, but it is what it is.
I think it's still likely to be a P2 for you in the championship. We'll wait till all of these final points are tallied at about 2 minutes time, Zach. But what does that still mean for you to have a top spot in this title fight after having so much success this season?
It feels good, especially after starting starting the season with one less race worth of results than everyone else because I missed the first round. It feels good. I think I did most of what I could this season. I feel like I would have had a better shot had last round not gone so poorly for me. Phillip Island was just about everything that could have gone wrong went wrong for me. So I think I can come out of this one feeling pretty good. I'm not too frustrated with how it went. I'm pretty happy with how it went.
Maybe safe to say that we'll see you back in contending for this championship next time around?
I sure hope so. We'll see how things stack up schedule-wise and everything, but I had a lot of fun this season. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing it some more with these guys.
Well, I know it didn't end how you wanted, Zach, but I appreciate you giving us some time here towards the end of this race. Again, congratulations on all your success this season, and congratulations again on what I think will be a P2 in the standings.
Thank you very much, guys. See you next time.
Well, there's the words from Zach Buchanan. It was no more than maybe 14 minutes ago that it looked like he had a chance for the championship, and instead, not likely to end in that manner. But one lap to go on this championship. Sam Trentopoulos leads the field as the highest runner, some 14 seconds ahead of everybody else. Ending on a high note for Trentopoulos as he's going to get his first win of the season. Sam Trentopoulos wins the third and final race at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, ending the season with an exclamation mark for him. Nikotimbev, Swindles, second and third. Those drivers able to fight it out towards the end of this one. And Michael Broomhead, final time in turn 10, settles and bounces back for P7 and wins the series championship.
Definitely a good result, but it's interesting as well for this final race. We're going to have a couple of new people here in the interview room today. I mean, we've spoken to Nikotimbev before, but Trentopoulos is going to be new. And not only that, best result yet for Swindles as well. What a way to finish the season. Well, finish the points season. Obviously, we've got King of the Mountain coming in 2 weeks' time, but third place. Fantastic.
It really is. I mean, you mentioned that King of the Mountain coming up, that rescheduled trip to Mount Panorama and Bathurst. You're not going to want to miss that one in 2 weeks' time. But this one will mark the end of this points championship, some 16 seconds ahead of Nikotimbev and company. What a drive for Trentopoulos, who does secure that first win. You talk about what we saw out of Buchanan. How about a Sam Trentopoulos statement ending? Only 2 starts on the year, I think. It would be amazing to see him join that championship fight sometime next season.
It's definitely been a good result as well. And Lima Racing, I'm pretty confident to say they would have got second place within the team's championship. Britannia iSports, I'd say they probably held it off, but there's a lot more at stake, you know, we'd have to check the points after, but certainly, you know, those guys were the ones to battle with. And absolutely fantastic attendance. Probably the best attended team throughout the series was Lima Racing. So thank you guys. And actually thank you to everybody this season who's been part of this. Not just the commentators, the directors, but especially the drivers, you know, because without you guys, you know, you guys are the series. You know, we get to commentate and, you know, present the show on the pure entertainment joy that you guys give us. So thank you very much, certainly from the BIS side. Thank you very much for being part of this.
And there is the man of the hour. It is likely a team championship for Intrace Britannia iSports and a driver championship for Michael Broomhead. Maybe not the exclamation mark that he was looking for in this final points race of the year, but he certainly had a scare when he was wrecked in the opening laps of this race, is able to fight back a good moral victory for P7. And it's going to be, again, the most valuable P7 that he's had all season long, as Michael Broomhead has secured the championship in this BiS Formula 1600 Championship Series. Let's look at our full race results for the final points race of the season. Round number 18 falls into our rear view mirror. Trentopoulos gets the win. Nikotimbev second. Swindles third. Hats off to all 3 of those cars. for getting some good results and taking the benefit of the invert. How about Graham Loman? Didn't talk at all about him in that one. 13th to 4th to get a top 10 finish. P5 is Gerard. Covey 6th. The champ, Michael Broomhead, is in 7th, with Muleman and Benvalit on the lead lap through your top 9. Ohayon gets 10th. It is Doherty in 11th. And again, Zach Buchanan retires from this race after an accident. He will finish 2nd, we believe, in the championship and 12th in this race. Yang comes home in 13th. We'll take one quick opportunity to step aside. When we come back, we'll go down, talk with your race winner, and talk with your series champion. Post-race coverage is coming up next. You're watching Podium's coverage of the BiS Formula 1600 Championship Series.
If you really want to improve your driving technique, you cannot just ask someone to tell you when to brake or when to turn. You have to learn how the car wants you to drive it. You have to learn car handling techniques, and that's where I excel at. The Motor Racing Checklist is the work of my life, currently with 2,000 drivers registered, and here's the thing. If you don't improve in 30 days, you get your money back. So give it a try. If you have any questions, just send me a message. I'm always available to answering these questions. This course is made for high-level drivers. If you're a beginner, you're gonna use it for a long time because all these concepts will help you right away, but the more you improve, the more you understand them, and then you're able to squeeze every concept to the limit, and you're gonna gain precision to be able to apply them in a very subtle way that most people don't even notice a difference in your driving. But those are the small things that make you improve a 10th per corner, and then if you just add up those 10ths, you realize you're 1 second faster than everyone else. Give it a try. If you have any question, just send me a message.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And back live at iRacing's virtual Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, where we have crowned a champion. Mike Broomhead is your BiS Formula 1600 Championship Series title holder, and we'll talk with him in just a moment. First, I want to welcome you back in to the podium booth. We're alongside Daniel Zippy Sambita. My name is Evan Pasoko, and our producer downstairs is Christian Hill, and Broomhead has done it again. Well, let's head down and talk with your series champion. It was a 7th place finish in the last points race of the season, but in the end, he stands atop the tallest mountain, and that is a championship in the F1600s for Mike Broomhead, who we are talking with now on the podium booth. And first off, Mike, congratulations.
Thanks so much. Obviously, the last race there wasn't exactly how anybody planned it, but Zach had great pace today, and it was quite close. But I guess you've got to be there at the end and hope for the best, really.
And let's go even before the scare at the start of race number 3, because you and Zach so even through races 1 and 2, fighting him for the win. He gets the checkered in both of those, but admittedly, he could have won all 3 if you had finished second at all of them. He would not have made up enough points. How much of that was a factor in your mind in those battles in the first 2 races? Was there a bit of a decision thinking, I could go for the win, but it's not worth risking wrecking this race car? Or was that not at front of mind and you were just simply going for the spot?
It crossed my mind a little bit. I would say that I didn't hold back from trying to win the race. I just gave more space than I would have. I probably took a few less risks. than I would have if it was more vital. But yeah, I just timed my run wrong in the first one, and then obviously the second one, he just had the pace and I couldn't catch him. When I had the incident with Cedric there in the third one, I just thought, okay, well, I'm trying to do quick math in my head of the point system to see where I need to finish, but unfortunately he had an issue himself, so it never ended up happening that way.
And then we get to the third and final one. We kind of knew going into it that both you and Zach would be uncomfortable in the midfield, in traffic, and then all of a sudden it feels like the wheels are coming off. You get involved in an accident, you're forced down to pit road, and as you're panicking to get back out there onto the racetrack, then Zach is involved in an accident. Just talk us through that whole sequence from behind the wheel.
Yeah, actually, I'll start with the fact that all three races I had auto clutch on, and I couldn't get away from the line properly. I don't know why that was on. I couldn't operate my clutch properly, so I kind of did what Lando did, and I got away with it 3 times. So, yeah, it's you know what, you don't want to see that. You don't want to see your main competitor have problems, even if you are going for points and championships and you are aggressive about it. But you know, obviously the pressure was off, and I just thought, well, I'm in clean air, might as well take off as many fast laps as I can. Obviously, I came out in front of him, and it was quite a bit of a distance. I don't know whether he stopped on track after that, just out of seeing the finish before it happened. But yeah, the last one was kind of a lonesome one. But I guess you got to be there at the end and play the rules by the book and see what happens. But I don't know. The third one wasn't as interesting as the first and second. We had some great battles up front.
Well, it was definitely a interesting battle to watch. It was almost as if there was a boxing match going on. And in the red corner, we have that's what it felt like, leading into this night. But I got to ask, Mike, obviously there's been a few changes in the royal family, but we would have grown up with God Bless Our Gracious Queen. Now, does it feel right to have like the British national anthem in your head, or have you been able to convert to God Bless Our Gracious King?
Oh, you know what? It's I think it's Queen, isn't it? I know she was around for so long. It's kind of hard, kind of weird to hear it as King. But you know what? That's the way the time goes. And I just want to thank, obviously, everybody that's come out. It's been a fantastic season. Hard racing, good close racing. We've had some bangers. So thanks to everybody for doing that. But yeah, God save the whatever it may be. It would be nice if it was real. But here we are.
I'll tell you what, Mike, this season started with a race win for you. Very first race of the year, back in 2023, week 1 on the championship. It ends with a title fight for you. Maybe a title that was won, not necessarily with the P1s, but with the consistency. Nobody racked up as many top 3s as we saw you do over the course of this season. And as you celebrate your championship, to your point, there's so much more that goes into this race championship for you than just driving, right? The organization behind the scenes. So for one final time this year, anybody else you want to say hi and thanks to?
Yeah, of course, Swayo for being our little sponsor there. We've got some wonderful packages with him, and he's racing radicals in real life as well. But, without the drivers in this championship, it isn't anything. Without people showing up and giving it their all, we don't really have a good show to put on. And then, of course, with you guys, if we didn't have a good show to put on, you guys wouldn't have anything to put on, and nobody would see anything of this stuff. So yeah, it may be a little bit of a video game, it may be some sim racing here and there, and it may be some fun, but at the end of the day, we put on a product that I think is exciting to watch, and some more to come. Of course, we've got the IndyCar racing coming up, so watch out for that. Discord QR code as usual. I'm sure you guys have shown that, but yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody who competed this season, and we'll see you all again.
Looking forward to seeing the Indy cars, as well as looking forward to the next time we see you in these F1600s as well. Mike, again, congratulations and thanks for the time.
Thank you so much.
That is your series champion here tonight, Michael Broomhead, a P2, a 2, and a 7. Good enough to get the job done. Well, let's head down to victory lane now with Sam Trentopoulos, who gets the race-ending victory for race number 3 on the afternoon. Sam, congratulations on the win. And first off, was great to see you back on track this week. Things went very different than they did last time we saw you on the streets of Chicago. A couple of good results, a P3 early. I know the wreck in the second race was kind of an outlier, but then you capitalize it all with a statement victory.
Yes, I'm happy you bring Chicago up. There's been a lot of work since then. Yeah, no, I mean, that second race really, it bummed me out. I came back stronger in the third, and I learned from my mistakes, but absolutely thrilled with today's win. It's a fantastic feeling to come out on top here, and but it's I have to give a huge thanks to my team. It's because of their hard work and their continuous support training me that I've been able to excel quite rapidly this season of coming from nothing to a big win today. It's an unbelievable moment for me, and it's moments that like these that make all the hard work and sacrifices worth it.
Well, I don't know if we've seen a race win by 17.3 seconds. If we have, they've been few and far in between. We both referenced Chicago. What has changed from that point? Has it been practice outside of these Wednesday night races? Has it just been as simple as a place like a Mosport that clicks more for you? What leads up to you being in position to put on a performance like you did tonight?
So it's been a lot of practice, to be honest. I stayed away from the racing for quite a few weeks until I felt ready to come back, and it's continuous hours of seat time that I decided to put in the last few months, and now I felt ready to come race in the BIS league where the guys are extremely fast and extremely competitive.
Well, you get 2 podium finishes on the night. The only other cars who were able to do that this year were top 4 drivers in the championship. So the natural next question is, do we see you competing on a full-time basis next time around and fighting for the title?
You bet I'll be here next year for sure. I don't know if I'll be fighting for the title, but I'll definitely be trying to fight for the title. I know there's some these guys are pretty fast, so they'll definitely keep me on my toes.
Well, we look forward to when that day comes, Sam. We'll let you get out of here. Before we do, though, sponsors, shout-outs, all those good folks who makes it happen for you in the 33.
Thank you so much.
That is your third race winner on the night. Sam Trentopoulos will end the season in victory lane. And again, like I said, when he came to the stripe, Zippy might be a good driver to keep an eye on for this championship fight next season. Somebody else who gets a good result to close out the year is Assad Nikhanenbev, P2 in the third and final race, and you're with him.
Assad, what an absolutely roller coaster of a ride tonight. Hero back to the back of the pack again, then back up again. Like, talk us through how your night went.
Yeah, so at the start, I myself wasn't really that great with the track before the race. And at the first race, I had a mediocre qualifying. I started 10th. And then in the start of the race, I had a good start and managed to get up to P4. And then while I was battling with some other drivers, I made a mistake and I crashed out in the first race. Then I finished, I think, 12th or 13th, so close to last. And then second race, pretty well. I started 12th, I think, and then I managed to move up again to about 5th. Yeah, 5th, and then had a good race until then. And yeah, the final race, I started 6th and managed to keep that and not make any mistakes. And I managed to also gain some places. And yeah, managed to end up in P2.
Yeah, definitely. It was a night where you kind of you get ahead a little bit, and then you'd have a little bit of a whoops. Don't get me wrong, it happens. Go back again, but then you just kept coming back. I mean, it was very entertaining to watch, and certainly, sometimes maybe a little bit of low risk, high reward was the strategy. But it's great to see you on the podium for the final points race of the season. Now, tell us a little bit. Are you going to be at the King of the Mountain race, Bathurst? Is that one that you're going to be comfortable with?
Yeah, I've had a not so great history with the track, but I feel like with this car, I will have a good chance to have a good result at the King of Hill. And yeah, I'm also very excited for that race.
Well, if it makes you feel better, pretty much anybody who's probably driven Bathurst has had a bit of a moment with that track, certainly myself included. But Assad, it's been absolutely fantastic having you with us, not just in the F1600s, but also in the Radicals as well. So I just wanted to say thank you very much for coming, and also, really impressive for one of the younger drivers as well. I mean, you're already better than me, dude. Like, I can't argue with that. You beat me consistently, so power to you for that. But is there anybody you want to thank before you call it for the night?
Yeah, thank you, Zippy. And I would say thanks to everyone, my family, my dad, my mom, my sister, my little sister, everybody. And I would like to thank my sponsors, Performance Racing School. They sponsor me in my car. And yeah, I would like to thank also Fortified Motorsports. They're also my sponsor. And yeah.
Damn, man, I'm impressed. You're young, you got sponsors. You just absolutely handed it to me. But ladies and gentlemen, that was Assad Nikhadenbev. Absolutely fantastic result. Second place in the final race tonight. And we've also been catching up with Richard Swindells as well. Now, I've got to admit, it's the first time we've seen you here on the podium step, but it's glad to have you in here for Atomic Racing. Richard, tell us a little bit about how it went for you tonight.
Well, tonight was a rough one, to be honest with you, Daniel. Race one, I had an incident on turn 2, lap 1, so that set me back and out of the draft. Race 2, the car just wasn't doing so well around corner 1. And race 3, I can't believe we got a podium here because coming around Moss, I ran into a couple of crash cars ahead of me, and I had damage for the rest of it. But fortunately for me, I survived, and unfortunately for others, they didn't. So you get to talk to me now.
Yeah, well, it's fantastic to see you in here, and certainly, Atomic, the attendance hasn't quite been as good. We're going to have to give James Carter a little bit of a hard time. Go, where is he? But now you get to have that happy moment of going, James, I got on the podium. When are you going to do it? A little bit.
That's for sure. That's for sure. But yeah, we had a good season. We joined late. We enjoyed it so much at the first practice race. We decided to jump in, and I'd never driven the car before and thoroughly enjoyed it.
It's definitely a hoot. Certainly, you can get. I find with the cars like the F1600, you can get that close wheel racing, and sometimes maybe a little bit too close. But King of the Mountains in 2 weeks now. Is Atomic Racing going to be out at that yourself, especially?
I'd like to say I'm going to race it, but I believe I have a previous commitment for that night. If I can get out of it, I will be there. But it's not looking good, but I hope to be, because that's going to be crazy.
Oh, absolutely. And whichever commitment Mr. Swindles has, I just want to inform you officially on the Podium Esports channel, behalf of BIS, you've now been cancelled. Ladies and gentlemen, Richard Swindles, is there anybody else you want to thank just before we go?
Yeah, I just want to thank Podium Esports for putting on great broadcasts every week, and of course, Britannia. Without the series, we wouldn't be here. There'd be nothing to broadcast, and we wouldn't have all this fun on Wednesday night. So thanks a lot, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, now it was Mr. Richard Swindles, first time in the podium box with us. Congratulations.
But a big thanks to all of the drivers who gave us some time post-race. It includes your podium finishers in that third and final race, Sam Trentopoulos, Assad Nikhadenbev, and Richard Swindles, as well as the champ, Michael Broomhead, who walks away with the big hardware. And yes, there is still a non-points race, that King of the Mountain special that's going to be going on at Bathurst in 2 weeks' time. There is certainly excitement towards that, but I think a little bit of sadness too as we leave this points championship behind us. 18 races have come and gone. It has been a fun series, and I think the fact that Broomhead was able to hang on with Buchanan, nip it at his heels with the return of Trentopoulos, Nikhadenbev, and more, Benvalid, Ross, top 5 cars. If all those names that we just mentioned, Zippy, are able to put together full campaigns the next time these F1600s are on track, that next championship is going to be a burner to watch.
Oh, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And certainly in the first season as well, we had Gladiator Racing as well. If we can get these guys back as well, there's going to be even more names in the mix. I mean, I know for season 1, we didn't have the lovely voice of Evan Pasoko himself, but you were missing out, and absolutely fantastic racing. And I think the series is just going to grow more and more as we get more time, more people get involved. And it's been absolutely fantastic. It's been a journey. And again, thank you to everybody who's been involved, everyone who took part. Really so thankful for the beautiful, beautiful series that we've had the pleasure of enjoying.
And while that points championship comes to an end, let's talk about what's next. 2 weeks' time, March the 27th, for the King of the Mountain special. Nowhere else than at Mount Panorama Circuit in Bathurst. It is going to be a stellar not-a-points event. You'll see some new faces who are not at all of these F1600 races competing in that one. And my kind of misfortune in all of this, Zippy, is the fact that I'll be on a flight to Birmingham that night, so I'm going to make sure that I get the good Wi-Fi package so I can stream and watch this race, because it is going to be a fantastic one. Are we going to see you in the booth? Or are you going to be behind the wheel? What do you got on tap for us in 2 weeks?
Now, myself and Bathurst have not always been the best friends. That particular corner, actually, that our director's putting on, it's almost like he knew I despised that corner. But I got to ask, Birmingham, UK or Birmingham, USA?
Funny enough, yes. Birmingham, Alabama next weekend, but the one that interferes with King of the Mountain would be Birmingham, UK.
Oh my! So obviously I'm from the UK, and it's pronounced Birmingham.
Birmingham? Do I need to say it like that?
No, like this, Birmingham.
Birmingham. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that one to you.
Yeah. Oh, honestly, I've got a friend who's from Birmingham, and I'm going to give you a food list as well. There's foods you have to try while you're over there. Not that I'm a foodie or anything like that. Definitely not that eclectic. But I've got sidetracked. We're going to miss you here in the booth tonight. And certainly King of the Mountain, I am going to keep my seat very planted in the booth on that one. I do not have the skill set required to try and get a car around there. The forgiveness level, I don't see there being one, especially as you go over the mountain. My question is, how many cars wide can we get through the mountain? And I'm sure these guys will deliver. I'm guessing 2. I'd like to see someone try 3 just for the giggles, but, chaos, panic, and disorder will be a result.
It is going to be a fun one, and we hope that you join us either tuning in, or if you're one of the drivers in the BIS leagues, hope to see you on track for that one as well. Not done yet, though. Want to thank all of our presenting sponsors for making tonight's broadcast possible. Of course, it all starts at the top with the Motor Racing Checklist 2.0, the best sim racing online course on the planet, but even better, and our friends at Turn 1 Sim Racing. Whether you're seeking an adrenaline rush, celebrating a special occasion, or simply looking to have a fantastic time with family and friends, Turn 1 Sim Racing is your ultimate destination. Step into the virtual racing world where every lap counts and every moment is filled with excitement. At Turn 1 Sim Racing, we're more than just a sim racing lounge. We're a passionate community of racing enthusiasts dedicated to providing you an unparalleled racing experience. And talking about unparalleled racing experiences, how about the BiS IndyCar Championship, Zippy? Mike was talking about it. It was on his mind. When he was talking about accepting his championship trophy, he was already looking forward to the IndyCar Championship. And of course, if you want to participate in that one, or even King of the Mountain coming up in 2 weeks' time, the way to get involved is to scan that QR code and join us here on the BiS Discord.
It's going to be an absolutely fantastic series. Now, IndyCar, not something I've driven too much. I'm going to be sticking in the booth on that one as well. Anybody who's on the track at that point would be grateful for such a thing to occur. Not necessarily for the commentating skills, but because that way I'm another roadblock that's not on the track. But it's going to be a phenomenal season. There's even going to be an endurance race there as well.
So we are looking forward to all of that and everything else that is coming on the horizon, because as this championship ends, there is a lot of racing still to go in 2024, and we hope that you join us for all of that. But until next time, that is it for us here tonight from Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. On behalf of the entire team at BIS, our team at Podium, and your broadcast team tonight, for Christian Hill downstairs, for Daniel Salmon and myself, Evan Pasoko, I want to thank you for tuning in, and congratulations go one more time to Mike Broomhead, who is the champion of the BiS Formula 1600 Championship Series. We'll see you next time. Good night from Bowmanville.
want to improve your driving technique, you cannot just ask someone to tell you when to brake or when to turn. You have to learn how the car wants you to drive it. You have to learn car handling techniques, and that's where I excel at. The Motor Racing Checklist is the work of my life, currently with 2,000 drivers registered, and here's the thing, if you don't improve in 30 days, you get your money back. So give it a try. If you have any questions, just send me a message. I'm always available to answering these questions. This course is made for high-level drivers. If you're a beginner, you're gonna use it for a long time because all these concepts will help you right away, but the more you improve, the more you understand them, and then you're able to squeeze every concept to the limit, and you're gonna gain precision to be able to apply them in a very subtle way that most people don't even notice a difference in your driving. But those are the small things that make you improve a tenth per corner, and then if you just add up those tenths, you realize you're 1 second faster than everyone else. Give it a try. If you have any question, just send me a message.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.